This evening, the Minister of Health is urging Guyanese not to become complacent as COVID-19 positive cases continues to rise. Over 20 Lusignan prison inmates graduated from an anger management program. Mazaruni prison escapee recaptured. In the region, Paraguay anti-drug prosecutor shot dead on honeymoon in Colombia. And internationally, World Health Organization says China's zero COVID strategy is unsustainable. Greetings and welcome to this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Update. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. Police officers in Region 8 have apprehended a Mazaruni prison escapee who was on the run for over a year. Esther Sobers brings us the details.
Police ranks of Regional Division 8 have recaptured a high-profile convicted prisoner who escaped from the Mazaruni prison more than a year ago. The convicted prisoner, 27-year-old Samuel Govaya, who escaped from prison over a year ago, was captured by police ranks at the Madi District Hospital, where he was attempting to seek medical attention for a wound to his neck around 4:40 p.m. on Tuesday, May 10th. He was positively identified by a prison officer and by records and tattoos on his left hand. Govaya was reportedly wounded after he got into a heated argument with an identifiable male over money at Mowasi Landing, Kamuak. The man stabbed Govaya to his left side neck, resulting in the knife being stuck in his neck. Govaya is presently under police guard at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, receiving treatment for the wound. In March 2020, Govaya was sentenced to 18 years and 9 months imprisonment for the 2015 killing of gold miner Santi Solomon. On November 23, 2015, at Pruni Landing near the Cayuni River, Solomon was attacked and stabbed multiple times about his body. Govaya was first charged with a capital offense of murder, but later pleaded guilty to the lesser count of manslaughter. He escaped the Mazaruni prison on February 2021 and was on the run until he was recaptured on Tuesday. Investigations are ongoing. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Over 20 inmates from the Lusignan prison have graduated from an anger management program, which has already proven to be beneficial, according to prison officials. Here again is Esther Sobers.
27 prison inmates from the Lusignan prison graduated a 12-week anger management program at Lusignan and Georgetown B prison on Thursday, May 5th, 2022. The 12-week program was conducted by Empower Guyana and was well received by the participants, who are now dubbed Peace Ambassadors. Officers in charge of the Lusignan and Georgetown B prison, acting SOP Carlton Cameron, commended the inmates on their commitment to the class and highlighted the change in their general behavior within the prison. The anger management program thus far has resulted in a significant reduction in the frequency of prisoner-to-prisoner violence at the prison. The Director of Prisons, Nicolon Elliott, during his brief remark at the ceremony, reminded inmates of the transition to corrections and the emphasis that has been placed on training programs. He urged them to put into practice the coping skills and diffusion tactics garnered during the 12 weeks to promote peace within prison, as well as when they return to society. Officer in charge of prisoners' welfare and correction, Mrs. Marcel Bristol Grant, said enhancing inmates' ability to manage their emotion is paramount to promoting peace within the respective prison environments, considering they are dwelling amongst people of different walks of life, with varying morals and values. The anger management program is currently ongoing at all prison locations. Their family members who attended the graduation expressed their appreciation and support for the efforts made to rehabilitate their loved ones. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Digicel Guyana has donated $500,000 to the Civil Defense Commission to aid those impacted residents of Bath Settlement. The Deputy Director General of the Civil Defense Commission, Major Loring Benons, who received the check earlier today, said the monies would be directed towards the impacted residents of Bath Settlement who recently endured a freak storm which saw significant structural damages. Major Benons indicated that the support was timely and would be utilized efficiently. Simone Pereira, Chief Commercial Officer at Digicel Guyana, expressed continued commitment to risk management and preparedness in Guyana through the Government of Guyana. On Friday last, a freak storm damaged about 20 houses in Bass Settlement Community. The residents are in the process of rebuilding their homes and other structures as they recently received several zinc sheets from the CDC. Stick around after the break. The Minister of Health urging Guyanese not to become complacent as the COVID-19 positive cases continues to rise, and 2 Meadowbank men were busted with 18 pounds of cannabis.
The Guyana Elections Commission GECOM is currently conducting a cycle of continuous registration. Anyone who will be 14 years or older by October 31, 2022 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. It is your civic duty and legal responsibility to apply for registration if you are eligible. When you do, you would be issued a national ID card and be listed to vote at future elections if you meet other eligibility criteria. Persons could be fined or sent to prison for refusing to apply for registration. Registration will end on May 29, 2022. For further information, please contact GECOM on hotline numbers 225-5868, 225-5808, or visit the GECOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
At John Lewis Styles, we carry only first quality men's and women's clothing, footwear, and accessories. As authorized dealers, our items come directly from the manufacturing brands and are available in all sizes and colors. What we sell was never on display in another store. It's time you know the truth about what you buy. Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
They say that when it hits you, it hits you. A feeling so strong that it's impossible not to give in to a juicy piece of KFC. To feel elevated by the aroma and to free fall into its exciting flavor. Some call it love, attraction, desire. We call it KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
The Guyana Elections Commission GECOM is currently conducting a cycle of continuous registration. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by October 31, 2022 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Where to register? Visit the registration office responsible for your area of residence to apply for registration. See Sunday Press for the locations of the registration offices. Registration offices are open from Monday to Friday, 8 to 18 hours, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 to 14 hours. The offices will be closed on holidays. This registration exercise will end on Sunday, May 29, 2022. For further information, contact GECOM on hotline numbers 225-5868, 225-5808. Or visit the GECOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. As the number of COVID-19 positive cases is once again on the rise, Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, is again urging persons not to become complacent as the COVID-19 pandemic is not yet over in Guyana.
We currently have 184 cases that are active. Over the last 24 hours, we would have seen 42 new cases. We had 3 new cases in Region 3, 25 in Region 4, 13 in Region 6, and 1 in Region 7. Of the active cases that we now have 3 persons at Ocean View in the hospital. So you can see this as an increase from the cases that we have been seeing over the last couple of weeks. This is a significant increase, and we have to be mindful of that. So one of the things that I want to urge people is to start taking precautions.
During Tuesday's COVID-19 update, Minister Anthony said people are encouraged to continue to follow the public health measures as well as wearing their mask in crowded areas and getting vaccinated.
I think over the last couple of weeks, people have discarded a lot of the public health measures that we have been telling them to use, especially wearing masks when you're in an indoor environment and around people. So a lot of persons have been ignoring that particular measure, and if we continue to do so, there are chances that you can get infected.
Dr. Anthony also made a call for persons eligible for booster doses to get the jab, especially those with comorbidities. He said being vaccinated against COVID-19 would boost your immunity and prevent serious illnesses and even death.
In addition to that, our vaccination booster rates are relatively low. So I would really want to urge people to come and get their booster doses, because that is also very important.
The health minister also spoke about Ghana's travel guidelines, noting that persons entering the country are still required to produce a negative COVID-19 test and proof of full vaccination.
We haven't changed the travel guidelines. The guidelines remain pretty much the same. For persons coming into Guyana, you're required to produce a negative test. That's either with PCR or antigen. And we give a window of 72 hours. So once the test is negative within that 72 hours window, we allow you to come. In addition to that, you must show proof of vaccination, and these are the 2 requirements that we have for persons coming in. So you have to test negative plus to produce evidence of vaccination.
Officers on patrol apprehended 2 males after they were seen transporting a barrel onto an undeveloped lot. Dale Jarvis has more on what the officers uncovered.
Police ranks on patrol through a street in Meadowbank arrested 2 men after they were found in possession of 18 pounds of marijuana, among other items, on Monday, May 9th. Reports are that around 10 a.m. the ranks were patrolling through a street in Meadowbank when they observed a 30-year-old and a 36-year-old male fetching a blue plastic barrel into an empty lot. Upon seeing the ranks, the men abandoned the barrel and attempted to flee. The ranks succeeded in restraining the men. A search of the barrel unearthed a bag containing 5 brown parcels which contained seeds, leaves, and stems suspected to be cannabis. There was also a multicolored bag which contained 1 camouflage hat, shirt, pants, mask, gloves, and a bulletproof vest, and 1 pair of black boots. The suspects were told of the offense, to which they denied the same. The men, along with the suspected narcotics and other items, were taken to the Rumville police station, where the narcotics were checked and weighed in their presence of the suspects and amounted to 18 pounds. The narcotics were sealed and lodged to be taken to the forensics laboratory. The other items were lodged and the suspects are in custody assisting with the investigation. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. Several juvenile drug treatment courts have been formed across the country. As the service explains the reasons behind the formation of these special courts. Here's more.
On Tuesday, several key stakeholders, including the Supreme Court of the Judiciary and UNICEF, joined forces to open 12 juvenile drug treatment courts across the country. The courts are specifically aimed at providing a different course of action for juveniles who come out into contact with law and have been found addicted to or abusing illegal substances. The objective of the drug treatment courts is to minimize teenage and adult crime and substance abuse through therapeutic intervention and judicial oversight. The Supreme Court had stated that the institution is aware that drug addiction has become a societal and public health issue, with many offenders committing minor offenses to support their habits. In brief remark at the opening ceremony at the Georgetown Magistrates Court, Chief Justice Acting Roxanne George Wiltshire considered it a necessity to implement a strategy to tackle the dilemma. She noted that the judiciary considers it necessary to prepare to engage and treat children or juveniles who come into contact with the law or who have substance abuse disorders. The Chief Justice added that it is now a firm belief to have offenders placed into programs that can directly attend to their rehabilitative process and opposed to locking them away. The program will target youths under 18 charged with minor non-criminal offenses. The courts are situated at Georgetown, New Amsterdam, Wim, Fort Wellington, Lenora, Wales, Reading Hoop, Spurnham, Charity, Soddy, and Barticle. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Don't go away. After the break, Paraguay anti-drug prosecutor shot dead on honeymoon in Colombia, and WHO says China's zero COVID strategy is unsustainable. But before that, here's your Bridge Retraction schedule, sponsored by Antique and Modern Concrete Molding Establishment.
In a world filled with copycats and ever-changing trends, make your property stand out with unique concrete moldings. Different, exquisite designs carefully handcrafted to suit your style, with various customizable and antique and modern designs made at our factory. Antique and Modern Molding Establishment. We make your property outstanding. We make and install all moldings anywhere in Guyana.
The best quality, affordable prices, on-the-spot quotes, and no hidden fees.
Call us or WhatsApp us at 684-5050 or email us at modernestab@gmail.com. Antique and Modern Molding Establishment, made to stand out.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoons, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoons Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
The Guyana Elections Commission GECOM is currently conducting a cycle of continuous registration. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by October 31, 2022 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Eligible persons can apply for new registration if you were never registered, name change if you have changed your name since you were registered, correction if registration information is incorrect, and transfer if you have changed your address since you were registered. See Sunday Press for more details. This registration exercise will end on Sunday, May 29, 2022. For further information, contact GECOM on hotline numbers 225-5868, 225-5808, or visit the GECOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. Paraguayan anti-drug prosecutor has been shot dead while honeymooning on a Colombian Caribbean island by men who fled by sea, police and his widow said. Al Jazeera's Alessandro Rampieti reports.
Marcello Pecci wasn't afraid of taking on Paraguay's drug traffickers. He led the country's most important investigations against organized crime and money laundering. It's a job that came with a lot of risk. And on Tuesday he was shot 3 times by hitmen while honeymooning at a resort on a Colombian island near the coastal city of Cartagena. The killers arrived on jet skis moments after Pecci's wife, journalist Claudia Aguilera, announced on social media they were expecting a baby. The killing has shocked both Colombia and Paraguay.
It is very painful, very hard. I spoke with Colombian President Ivan Duque on the phone and he promised me that he would give us all his support to solve the case to look for those responsible. I've also spoken with the North American government about this, who will support us through Colombia. Now, I'm going to visit the Attorney General.
Colombia's national police sent homicide investigators to Cartagena. A police delegation from Paraguay will assist the investigation.
We have information that is being collected in urgent efforts and which is confidential, which will help us to identify those responsible for this regrettable occurrence.
Hours later, the police released 2 pictures of one of the alleged killers. Pecci was seen as an incorruptible prosecutor in one of the most corrupt countries in Latin America, but his success in high-profile drug and money laundering cases brought him powerful enemies. His death shows the reach of Paraguay's drug mafias and their connections in Colombia. Alessandro Rampieti, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
Internationally, Sri Lanka has ordered troops to shoot on sight after it granted its military and police emergency powers to arrest people without warrants in the wake of Monday's violence that left 7 people dead and resulted in the resignation of Prime Minister Mahendra Rajapaksa. Al Jazeera's Medley Fernandez reports.
A trail of destruction following rioting in Sri Lanka. Soldiers have joined police to enforce a 3-day curfew aimed at stopping the violence. The government's failure to solve the unprecedented economic crisis has angered people here. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa resigned after weeks of pressure. But protesters say that's not enough and want his brother, who's president, to go too.
We are standing here until Gotabaya Rajapaksa go home. And not only that, we are demanding for the new interim government to establish new laws under the 21st Amendment, and beyond that, we need to abolish the executive presidency.
Thousands like him had protested peacefully for more than a month outside the president's office, but say the Prime Minister's supporters attacked them on Monday. Dozens of buses were destroyed in the ferocious fighting which followed, and VIP cars dumped in a lake. Police investigators and the local magistrate inspected the damage. Trade unions condemned what they described as a planned attack on peaceful anti-government protesters.
They brought provincial politicians to the Prime Minister's residence and hired thugs to attack the protesters. We ask that legal action be taken against Mahinda Rajapaksa for setting fire to this country.
Trade unions have started a strike and say it won't end until both the president and government resign. And there's a proper investigation into the attack. But the unrest goes on. The homes of politicians were set on fire. And an assault on the highest-ranked police officer in the Western Province has increased concern that the crisis is spiraling out of control. The Defence Ministry has authorized the armed forces to shoot anyone stealing or assaulting anyone.
Sri Lanka is facing its worst economic crisis since independence in 1948, and destruction of this scale it just cannot afford. Observers say what adds insult to injury is that it could have been avoided. Mina Fernandez, Al Jazeera, Colombo.
And finally, China's zero COVID strategy to defeat the pandemic is not sustainable, the head of the World Health Organization has said in a rare public criticism by the UN agency on a government's handling of the coronavirus. Al Jazeera's Alexi O'Brien reports.
Beijing, a city of more than 20 million people, almost at a standstill. Schools, gyms, hairdressers, all closed. And people are being told or forced to work from home while widespread COVID-19 testing's underway.
We must work hard to race against the virus, adhere to the 24-hour treatment rule, carry out the epidemiological investigations, controls and detection in a fast manner, and speed up the whole process.
But with the toughening restrictions in Beijing and the weeks of lockdown misery in the biggest city, Shanghai, the World Health Organization's issued rare criticism of China's zero COVID strategy.
We have discussed about this issue with Chinese experts, and we indicated that the approach, will not be sustainable. And considering the behavior of the virus, I think a shift will be very important.
Experts suggest China could struggle to find a way out because of low vaccination rates in those aged over 60.
Over the long term, millions, countless millions of people in China are going to get COVID, and they need a strategy to prevent people from being hospitalized and dying. And that really means effective vaccines and high penetration, particularly among the elderly and the vulnerable. And that's not happening in China.
China's policies have caused anger and anguish for separating children from parents and putting those without symptoms in with others who are unwell. There have been rare protests too, with residents in Shanghai banging pots in frustration over weeks spent indoors. Here, crowds faced off with police in protective clothing because their homes were being turned into temporary quarantine centres.
But all of those actions, as we've said since the beginning, should show due respect to individual and human rights. And we always have said as WHO that we need to balance the control measures against the impact they have on society, the impact they have on the economy. And that's not always an easy calibration to make.
While other countries who've shared a zero-COVID approach are beginning to transition to living with the virus, China is yet to move on. It says its policies will stand the test of history, vowing to win the battle against the pandemic. Alexia O'Brien, Al Jazeera.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast. And that is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Thursday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.